Belly gets angry with Conrad because he's forcing her to confront feelings that she's trying to avoid. Belly tries to get away from Conrad because she's trying to run away from this situation that's becoming messy and hard. Belly rejects Conrad because she's afraid of how deeply she loves him and how vulnerable that makes her. And Belly breaks down crying because she knows she's not being honest with herself. Understanding the nuance of what happened between Belly and Conrad on the beach is a key to understanding 1. Belly's internal conflict, 2. How she and Conrad are actually mirrors of each other, and 3. How the show is using these characters to explore a central theme of love and fear. By the way, this is season 3 of The Summer I Turned Pretty from the perspective of a former English teacher. Let's talk about Belly and Conrad in episode 7. First, we need to understand that Belly's feelings for Conrad didn't just suddenly awaken because of what happened in the bathroom or with the peaches. If we paid attention this season, we would have noticed all these moments that told us Belly's feelings for Conrad never went away. They've just been kept at bay with distance. And once Conrad was back from California, Belly repeatedly tried to fight off those resurfacing feelings by denying and rationalizing them away. In this way, the show is portraying Belly and Conrad as each other's mirror. Their feelings for each other are mutual, and they both do the same things to manage those feelings. Belly and Conrad both relied on being physically apart as a way to numb their affections. It's why Conrad went to California because, as he said himself, it's far away from Belly. That as long as he's not physically close or alone with her, he's okay. And we see Belly doing the same thing. It's why she went to stay at Adam's for more than 2 weeks. It's why she didn't want to be in Cousins without Jeremiah because, as she said, when I'm with Jer, everything is easier. Meaning, when she's with Jer, she can focus on him instead of Conrad. It's easier for Belly to have Jared as a buffer, a distraction really, than to have to confront her feelings for Conrad that she can't seem to control. Belly and Conrad also both try to deny and rationalize their feelings. Belly repeatedly tried to convince others and herself that her wedding jitters are just from being overwhelmed by all the planning. She repeatedly tried to push through her doubts by reminding herself that she and Jeremiah love each other. And while that may be true, it wasn't until her conversation with Taylor at the club that Belly was finally able to acknowledge that her feelings for Conrad are also very real. Conrad also tried to deny and dance around his feelings all the way up to his confession. Even in that conversation with Belly on the beach, Conrad first tried multiple times to project his feelings onto her, saying, "Why are you marrying Jeremiah after he slept with Lacey? You're not the type of person that would take that." And how, "Your wedding's at a country club, who are you?" While these points are valid, what Conrad's really doing is trying to put it all on Belly, when the truth is he just doesn't want her to get married because he loves her. That's why in the end, when he's left with no other choice but the truth, he said reluctantly and desperately, "Fuck, I still love you." The significance of these parallels between Belly and Conrad is that they show us how they are each other's mirror. They are the matching halves of the infinity sign. Their love for each other is mutual in their intensity and depth, and the root of the predicament is that both of them have denied their true feelings out of fear of hurting or being hurt by the person they love. And this brings us to how the show is using these characters to explore the theme of love and fear. And this is actually a central theme in this entire series. Conrad had pushed Belly away out of fear of hurting her. We now know that was what led to their breakup at prom and why he basically pushed Belly to be with Jeremiah. Belly also pushed Conrad away out of fear of being hurt by him. She's talked about how she had loved Conrad so completely with the whole of her being that when they broke up, she was utterly devastated. In many ways, Belly closed her heart to Conrad and chose Jeremiah because she believed Jeremiah was a safer person to love, that somehow she would never experience heartbreak again. But of course, that's not the reality. This is why when the whole Lacey thing happened, Belly said to Jeremiah, "You were supposed to be the one person who would never hurt me." But that's an unrealistic expectation and an impossible standard for anyone to live up to. What the show establishes with all these different relationships is that there's no such thing as if you just choose the quote-unquote right person, then you will have the quote-unquote perfect relationship. Laurel talked to Belly about this in season 1, how her relationship with John was not hot like fireworks, but cozy like a campfire. John was the safer choice. He was steady and dependable, yet he and Laurel still didn't work out. In that conversation, Belly asked Laurel, "Then how do you know when it's the right person?" To which Laurel responded, "You'll know when you want to be with that person, no matter what. Too hot, too safe, you won't care. It'll just feel right." The show is having the characters, and us, the audience, confront the fact that there's no such thing as guaranteed safety in love. There's no such thing as if you just choose the right and perfect person, then you will never experience any hardship or potential heartbreak. To love deeply and to be loved in return requires us to be open and vulnerable. And with that, naturally comes the risk of being hurt. Because as human beings, we are not perfect. We make mistakes, and we can hurt each other even when we act with love and good intentions. This is something that Conrad has already worked through in therapy and in his own self-discovery. It's why he's able to finally bare his soul to Belly. He's no longer running away or denying his feelings because he's no longer gripped by the fear that he may not love Belly perfectly. Conrad has grown to have the self-acceptance that he's not perfect and he doesn't have to be. Also, when you think about it, Conrad confessing his love to Belly is him stepping into his worst fears, which is when things are out of his control and when things go wrong. So opening himself up in the most vulnerable way and to be rejected so devastatingly was his worst case scenario come true. But he still did it because Conrad now knows to love and to be loved in return comes with the possibility of hurting or being hurt by the person you love. Belly, on the other hand, hasn't fully absorbed that lesson yet. She's still wrestling with it. That's why she rejected Conrad's confession of love for her, even though it's everything she's ever wanted to hear. To be clear, we know Belly's not being truthful in what she said to Conrad. We've heard her inner dialogue. We've seen how much her memories and interactions with him mean to her, and how they're making her second guess her relationship with Jeremiah. So when she tells Conrad that, you will never be what Jer is to me, and that you and I were never anything, we know she's lying. Belly is lying to Conrad and lying to herself because she's so afraid of hurting and being hurt by the people she loves. The irony is, as much as Belly faults Conrad for running away when things get hard, that's exactly what she herself is doing. Belly is running away and refusing to confront the hard realities of her feelings in this whole situation because she's now ready to accept that if she were to truly follow her heart, she will be hurting Jeremiah, whom she loves, and she will be opening herself up to be potentially hurt again by Conrad. Until Belly can accept that, which can only happen with a certain level of self-discovery and self-acceptance, she will never be able to love and be loved by the person she truly wants.